This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour.
Greetings, football fans.
This is the ESPN LA USC Trojan Media Network.
Presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Are you ready for some football?
Here we go. Trojans Live is on the air for this Monday, September 16th, 2024. Our Trojans had the bye week to get ready. Yes, the week is upon us. USC, Michigan, Saturday at the Big House. Kickoff at 12:30 p.m. as we try to add to the history books of the Rose Bowl rivalry now in September.
Deep drop for Booty, has time, throws for Jarrett over the top. He's got it at the 30, gets away at the 20. He's going to go all the way. It's a touchdown, USC! John David Booty to Dwayne Jarrett. And the Trojans have scored again.
Trojans Live is on for USC Michigan week right now. The exclusive USC Trojans Coaches Show. Behind-the-scenes insights and breaking news from the student-athletes who play for the Cardinal and Gold. Trojans Live is presented by Monster Energy. Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
Unleash the beast.
It's time for your host. Live from Los Angeles, here are Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Cody Kessler.
Hello and welcome everyone to Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy on our new home, ESPN LA 710, across the USC Trojans Media Network. I'm Jordan Moore alongside the All-American Sean Cody, our quarterback, Cody Kessler, and the head coach, Lincoln Riley. Monster Energy, the official energy drink partner of USC, tearing into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet. Monster Energy, unleash the beast. Our head coach interview is presented by I Trust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. Thank you, Coach. Hope you enjoyed your bye week. How did you spend the off time? Obviously, you had a lot of practice last week, and then how'd you spend the weekend?
Recruited Friday. We got most of the staff out really all over the country to get a chance to go out and see some of our commits and some guys that we wanted to get out and evaluate in person. So it was great to get everybody out. And then, Saturday was kind of like a normal college football fan. Hung out at the house, cooked out a little bit, watched games, hung with the girls. So it was a good Saturday, and then back at it on Sunday.
Did you watch the Michigan game, or do you just wait till that's ingested as film?
I didn't watch it live. I didn't. I knew I was going to watch it plenty.
Yeah.
So, watch some of the others. I flipped back and forth to see what the score was, but I didn't sit there and studied it. I tried to just have a little bit more of a normal day.
You know, I didn't get my invite again this year to the bye week tradition at the Riley household, but we'll wait for next year, Coach. Obviously, Coach, with a bye week, opportunity to kind of self-scout yourself and look at the last two games. Anything you pulled from your first two games here this season?
Yeah, I mean, we improved in a lot of ways from game one to game two. But there certainly still is when you go back and look at the first few games. There's some areas really on all three sides. We've had a couple missed opportunities special teams wise. We felt like that, and we really tried to spend a lot of time on those during the bye week. And then there's a lot of things, whether it's corrections on what you've done the first two games, or it's like looking ahead and things that you're going to need to do really well here coming up this week and beyond. We tried to target those areas. We tried to be very specific with our players in terms of, hey, here's the areas we're going to work on. Here's our strategy for doing it. Like, we got to go put this into action and really get some good work. And I felt like we did. I mean, we had competitive practices throughout the week. Had some quick work on Thursday, and then, like I said, got the coaches out on Friday. But I feel like it was a productive week. We got, guys are going to be rested and obviously excited to prepare for this one.
Coach, we didn't get a chance to talk after the Utah State game, but when you have your starters come out of the football game, how much confidence does it give you as a head coach when the backups come in and are still that dominant on both sides of the football? Yeah,
that was exciting. That was important, and even when the game, was in hand in terms of getting the victory, to see those guys go in and play well is important. And I mean, that's why even when we had the issue there at the end of the game, we wanted to keep going because those reps are invaluable, and to see those guys go perform was important. And a lot of times, you see it all over the country is the backups or some of those guys get in the game and all of a sudden it starts to look sloppy or nothing like the other groups. And so, for us to go in there and compete on all three sides, to maintain the shutout, to continue to move the ball offensively and produce special teams-wise was very important. And we're going to need a lot of those guys, this year and certainly in the future. So important to see them go out and play well.
Yeah, mentioning that game, there were sort of a lot of built-in excuses to be sluggish in a game like that. It was come down after that major opener. It was a late-night game. You had multiple delays in it. The team wasn't sluggish at all, though. Every time the lights were on enough to play football, they showed up. What did that say about the maturity of your team so early in this season, that they were ready to go for all 60 whenever the clock was running? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's I don't want to make more of it than what it is. Like, we knew the challenge that week. And our guys listened. They listened to what we said. We told them these are going to be the challenges and the things you're going to have to deal with and that we're going to need to handle well, and they did that. So, great job that week. But then the bye week's a new set of challenges. This week against Michigan, new set of challenges. So we've got to continue to handle them well. But we've done it. We've done it so far, and we've got to continue to do it as we go forward.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned those guys are in their reps in the Utah State game on the back end of that game, and then you go into a bye week where some of those guys get some more opportunities to get in. Anybody kind of highlight themselves or step out in a spotlight role where you say, hey, this guy might have earned himself some more reps these last couple of weeks?
Well, I think I would point to some of our young defensive linemen. I've been was excited about how several of those guys played in the Utah State game, and those guys continue to improve. And we've got some guys physically there that are ready to help now, and they're getting better. They're getting it. Obviously, getting that game experience was great. I mean, even just our scout team defensive line right now is it's pretty good. I mean, it's a group, and those guys I think are going to get their opportunities to impact us this year. I mean, I would say the same. I think there's potentially a couple of guys in the secondary. Some of the young offensive linemen coming around is going to be important. I mean, I would certainly look at running back as well, too. You just know how that position goes, and we know, like we said from the beginning, we're going to need all four of those guys at some point this year.
Coach Miller's looked great through the first two games. I think he's done a phenomenal job of protecting the football, taking what the defense gives him, using his playmakers around him, as doing such a great job of getting them the football in space. Now you go into conference play. What does that next step for Miller look like going into Big Ten play?
I don't know that there's a next step. He's handled the challenges well so far, and the challenges are going to continue to change. And, you're going to go here, a road atmosphere, be a great atmosphere to play in, a very good defense. You're going to get into all these different game situations that are going to come up that may be different than some of the ones that he's been in his first three starts so far. So he's just got to continue to prepare well, take that preparation to the game field, and then just go execute and stay steady. And that's kind of been his recipe, to play well. And he's going to have to continue to do that because the challenges around him will continue to change, as you know, from doing it.
You're listening to the head coach, Lincoln Riley, on Trojans Live. Your defense has been fantastic through two games. I think we were all excited to see improvement. It's happened so quickly. How has it happened so quickly? Is there something within their system that Coach Lynn and his staff has been able to implement that it's been almost instant, or is it more simple than that? Is it more about the fundamentals of the game and the way they're teaching it, that it's not so scheme based? It's just that everyone's sort of bought into what they're doing.
Probably in some ways a combination of all of it. I mean, the coaches have done a good job. The strength coaches, nutritionists, our guys have done a really good job in terms of the physical changes, which I know we've spoken a lot about. We've gotten some players within our program that have developed. We brought in a couple of guys that have certainly helped us, I think, in terms of pushing it along in year one, that have played at a high level that came from outside the program. So everybody owns part of it, and I think for us the exciting thing is we look at it and there's a lot of good, but there's still like so much left to go. There's so much left to go in terms of playing the level that we can. And again, kind of like the question about Miller, that we know there's a lot of new challenges coming up, starting with a big one here this week, and we got to continue to be ready on a week-to-week basis. And so, I don't know. I guess when you look at it from a game perspective, right, from the end of last season to now, it seems quick. I guess for me, it doesn't feel that quick. It's a long process to build the roster, to build the staff, to make the physical changes, to get the defense implemented, to go through spring, to go through summer, to go through fall camp. I feel like we've been building towards it, for a while, and I think we've positioned ourselves to have a really good group, and we got to continue to go prove it week in and week out.
Coach, you mentioned a little bit about recruiting and obviously challenges during the season and trying to get all that done with game plan and all that stuff. How do you handle that procedure with your staff during the in-season recruiting?
Well, we have sectioned off time where we know each week, during these times we're meeting on special teams, or we're meeting offensively or defensively, or obviously you got practice and meetings with the players, but then we have blocked off time at different points each week when our focus, whether in a staff meeting or communicating or whatever it is, but our focus goes solely on recruiting. And so that I think helps us, because you got to be – your time is really valuable during the year. There's not enough of it. You're always trying to squeeze more minutes out of the day than what are there. And so, but certainly the recruiting is something that can't ever stop and is a part of what we do every single day. And it's just a little bit more sectioned off during the year.
Coach, you've coached in a lot of big-time games in these hostile environments. What's the best advice that you can give your players, especially some of the younger guys, as they get ready to go take on Michigan in this type of environment?
Well, I think it helps us, having played the LSU game. I mean, that wasn't a full road game, but at times, those neutral games can kind of feel like it a little bit. And so I think, this team having been in a big-time atmosphere is certainly helpful. Now it's different, right? When there's not anybody cheering when you make a play, and so, or just a very few. There'll be certainly. I know we'll squeeze as many in there as we can, but so yeah, that part's different. I think you got to have a lot of poise. You got to have an incredible amount of trust. Your communication, I think, always when you get in these environments, your communication, your operation have got to be really, really good because they're going to challenge you on top of the crowd. I mean, just a really good football team with a lot of really good players on the other side.
There's nothing better, too, on the road when you do score a touchdown and it goes completely silent. I mean, you love playing at home, but that's a great feeling.
It's a good sound. It is.
No reminder needed on who USC is playing this week, but we'll provide it anyway. USC versus Michigan, a 12:30 kick here in the Pacific time zone. We'll be in a different time zone calling it for you. Game is on CBS on TV, but we'll be right here on the ESPN LA 710. USC Trojans Media Network will go on at 10:30 a.m. We will talk to Coach about the big game next on Trojans Live.
I got the royalty in the mail. I got authority in the field. Take a look in my iris. I'll be precise with the timing. I never know where my mind went. I used to toss a coin in the waterfalls in the wishing well. Now I get plenty coin, but I'm self-made. You ain't gotta wish me well. You ain't like me then, but I guess it's past tense, cause you tapped in. You was never who you said. I see the facade when looking at really me like you could tell. My guard up, I ain't taking nails. If it's not in my favor, won't sign a deal. I got the royalty in the mail. I got authority in the field. Take a look in my iris. I'll be precise with the timing. I never know where my mind went.
Trojans Live is sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. And hey, Trojan fans, celebrate every Trojan win and enjoy the sweet taste of victory with a free donut at Ralph's the day after the win. Download your digital coupon from the Ralph's app to score your free donut at any Los Angeles area Ralph's store. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody Kessler, and the head coach, Lincoln Riley. Appreciate you joining us here for a second segment. It is Michigan week. And, listen, Coach, from a fan's perspective, Saturday is why you joined the Big Ten, right? I mean, the fans are just the people that are making the sort of pilgrimage are very excited about it. Others will get to watch it on a big-time network at a big time. I know there's a sort of a faceless opponent to the way that things are approached these days, but do you talk to the team or do you feel the history or the gravity of a game like this? How do you address it?
For sure, yeah. I don't think you can ignore it. It's a big game. I mean, it is. It's for a lot of reasons. I mean, in any year it would be a big game, but you go, first Big Ten matchup, you taking arguably the two most iconic brands, in the conference and two of the most iconic brands in the sport, and you pair them up together and And I think probably fitting that we're doing it at their place, being that they've obviously been in the Big Ten forever, and so it's cool, man. I mean, it is. It's cool. It's a great opportunity, and so I don't think there's any harm in acknowledging that. Now, what it takes to go play well in that is going to be the same recipe that it takes to go play well in any game like this, and so we've got to be able to lock in and go execute it. But yeah, I mean, you got to appreciate it. What a great opportunity for us. Kind of being the newbie here in the league and to get a chance to go up there and play the defending national champions.
Coach, break down the Wolverines for us. A 2-1 team on the year. Stumble versus Texas, but last week got back in the win column. What do they look like?
Well, they're like most teams that have had a run of great years and then had obviously a tremendous year last year. What you're judged on is so high. I mean, this is still, like, make no mistake about it, this is still a very, very, very good football team. Like, and anybody that thinks they're not is crazy, all right? This is, without a doubt, one of the best defenses in the country. They have NFL personnel on both sides of the ball all over the place, a really good coaching staff, crazy experience. I mean, this is a great team that'll be a big challenge. Obviously, we know they're looking at a quarterback change here, defensively, and so certainly got to be ready for all things there. But we know the player and athlete that Orgy is. I remember him coming out of high school, and so we have a lot of respect for him and the weapons that they have around him. Their ability to run the ball, they ran it very well last week. Elite tight end, elite backs. I mean, they have tremendous players offensively. And then defensively, I mean, it's pretty obvious, really good group, tremendous defensive line. They're really good at all levels. Got one of the best corners in the game. I mean, just it's what you would expect when you go play the defending national champions. They got a really good team, and it'll be a big time challenge.
Coach, as a player, you love playing in these type of games and atmospheres, but I've always been curious, as a coach, what are you most excited about, for Saturday, being able to coach in this game? Do you ever get a chance to really take it all in those moments, or are you so locked in and focused that it doesn't really hit you until you get on the plane afterwards?
No, I love the road, man. I always do. They're the best.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've always said that no matter where I coach, and I've been lucky to coach at some great places that have some, great home venues and home field advantages, and this is certainly stacks right up there, obviously. Being able to coach here at USC and being able to coach, at the Coliseum is as good as it gets in terms of home games. But there's just something about going on the road, man. They're the most special games. I think the ones you deep down look forward to the most. And so I've always appreciated getting a chance to coach in some of these other elite venues and against great opponents. And so this will be another one to put on the list, and one I'm very much looking forward to.
So as you mentioned, this is also, the first Big Ten game, and there was so much talk about the physicality of this conference and winning the battle up front. How much confidence do you feel in the work that you guys have put in, as you said, not even since the end of last year, sort of starting towards the end of last year, to be ready for this, next 9 games you're going to play within this conference?
I have a lot of confidence, but it's also a really big challenge. I mean, I feel great about our opportunity to go handle it well, but it'll take all we got to go handle it well. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, both this team and certainly, throughout the rest of the league, there's a lot of really good teams in this league, a lot of really good teams on our schedule, a lot of teams that are really strong on the fronts on both sides of the ball. So, we're going to get challenged there week after week, and we've got to be ready to rise up to the challenge and make sure that they're getting a big damn challenge when they play us, right? And that's what it's all about. So, yeah, you're just going to have to be ready every single week. You feel it, you know it, and it's our ability to do it one game here, one game there. Like, that's great, but I think ultimately a big part of our season will be determined on, are we able to do it week in and week out and maintain that physicality on both sides?
I think last week we talked to Coach Lynn, and I asked him about the Michigan game and maybe one stat that maybe would stick out if you guys were able to go pull off the win out there. What's something that you're going to circle after the game, maybe a stat or some plays that you can figure out that could lead you to the win?
I don't know that it's anything magical. I mean, it's the things that typically in road football that you need to do well. You got to go do well in the turnover department. I mean, you always point to that. And I think a lot of times in these games, teams that are able to run the football and teams that are able to control the run.
I think that was Coach Lynn was like, we got to stop the run.
No, that's the recipe for pretty good football all the time, especially when you're playing a really good opponent. So there's obviously going to be a lot of other key things that we'll need to do well, but those you'd have to put those up there pretty high on the list.
Coach Lake McCree leads the team right now with receptions and receiving yards. He's looked very confident this year, especially coming off of injury. How important is it to have a tight end that is a major factor in your pass game?
It's important. We've tried to develop that room. He's an important part of our team, not just the play, but just kind of the attitude of this team. Him stepping up and then us being able to develop some other depth in that room it's just a key part of us both now and going forward. And I think it makes us, hopefully a little bit tougher to defend. So I can't say enough about him and his toughness and to be able to come off the injury that he had. I mean, most people aren't even cleared yet, and he's out there making big time plays in high level college football. I mean, the guy's he's an outstanding player, but he is a tough, competitive dude that is wired the way that we want players on our football team to be wired.
Well, we are looking forward to Saturday, and then we will talk to you about it this time next week. Thank you, Coach. Good luck in Ann Arbor. We cannot wait. A part of the battle up front is Gavin Meyer. He's a redshirt senior transfer. He was brought in as part of this defensive line. He's next on Trojans Live.
I used to toss a coin in the waterfalls in the wishing well. Now I get plenty coin, but I'm self-made. You ain't gotta wish me well. You ain't like me then, but I guess it's past tense, cause you tapped in. You was never who you said. I see the facade when looking at really me like you can tell. My guard up, I ain't taking nails. If it's not in my favor, won't sign a deal. I got the royalty in the mail. I got authority in the field. Take a look in my iris. I be precise with the timing. I never know where my mind went.
And our best in the game is brought to you by Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of USC Athletics, helping the world keep promises. Our best in the game is Gavin Meyer. He's had a huge impact coming over as a senior transfer from Wyoming. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody Kessler. Gavin, welcome to Trojans Live. Why USC? Why'd you make the decision in your final year to come over and be a Trojan?
Yeah, entering the transfer portal, in the last year of eligibility was definitely a big decision. I ended up graduating in May, so that was a big part of it, and the timely transfer for me. And then I think the biggest decision for me was, wanting to go somewhere where it's high level college football, and I think, having the opportunity to play here, couldn't be happier, and specifically with the coaching staff, just everyone is at the top of their game, and getting to learn from and get to play at this high level is couldn't be happier with it.
Yeah, I can't get more high level than maybe Coach Henderson, right? Comes down from the NFL, coaching Aaron Donald. What's it like to be in a room with him and work with him and get some of that expertise as he has?
It's hard to express because, a coach like that getting to pour into you at the college level and previously doing it at the NFL level at such a high level for many, many years. Everything he says, anything he tells you or doesn't tell you, you have to pay attention to. And then everyone in the D-line room, just being able to learn from him and then work together as a unit and get it done on the field is really just a dream come true for sure this season.
How have you been able to make that transition, right? And you were a summer transfer player, only been here a short amount of time, and now you're a key player on this USC defense. What does that transition look like? You talk about the coaches, but I guess personally, what have you had to do to be able to be ready to play?
Yeah, I think one of the big takeaways I have from this offseason and what I had to do going into it was change and transform my body to be able to play at this level. There's definitely a lot that I had to do in that category. And then along with my teammates, just getting in the playbook and getting all the techniques and concepts that, we do here down to a T. So we wouldn't have to worry about that when we got into fall camp and, already rolling into season.
You're listening to Gavin Meyer on Trojans Live. We've got a little Wyoming to USC pipeline going on here. Did you talk to Emmanuel Pregnon or Solomon Byrd about their experience? Was that part of understanding this decision?
Yeah, so I was able to speak to both of those guys after I was in the portal and was able to hear from USC. Definitely reached out to both of them. They're both really actually big contributors to my success at Wyoming. Emmanuel, we both came in together at Wyoming, and then Solomon, he was already there, already had a bunch of success there when I got there, and him being on the D-line, I was able to learn a lot about pass rush from him. He's a pass rush guru, and what he does and how he gets it done. So there was definitely a little bit of a connection there that I'm super happy to get to be here with E-Man for sure.
Originally from Wisconsin, so you're a Midwest guy, Big Ten guy. I'm sure you grew up watching some Big Ten football. What's it like to, get this chance to go into the big house in Michigan and play a football game?
Yeah, growing up watching Big Ten football, every weekend, regardless of the team. But the big house and how big it is going to be a really cool atmosphere for us to go into, and I'm just really looking forward to it.
Who's been your biggest inspiration as a player? And, all of us going through college, we like to watch some of the pros or some of the older guys. Who do you like to model your game after?
I like to model my game after, someone that with unrelenting, effort and just a really knack for the game and, a nose for the football. Guys that come to mind are like, the Clay Matthewses, the Aaron Donalds, the J.J. Watts. But, with the elbow brace now, I get a lot of the J.J. Watt stuff.
Yeah.
So.
How cool has it been to have Aaron Donald around the team a little bit and get to talk to him?
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to actually meeting him for the first time. I got to, walk by him pregame, but I didn't feel like that was the right time to introduce myself. Yeah. But since I've only been here in the summer, he was more here during spring ball and the camp and stuff. But it's awesome, one of the best to ever do it, and yeah, man, that's awesome.
For people watching out there, how would you describe your role in this defense? Not necessarily your position. Everyone hears the position, but in terms of how it affects the other 10 guys in the defense, what do you feel like you're bringing into the table to fit into this scheme?
One of the main things that I want to always bring to a team, regardless of what position you play or whatever, is that trust. That trust factor that you have to have in everyone on the field and just doing your job 100% of the time. So no one next to you tries to cover for you or anything like that. And then after that, it's just the effort piece, whether it's 20 yards downfield or 5 yards in the backfield, like I'll always be running to the ball and always be there to, try to clean up a tackle or, get the ball out in that kind of situation. I think that's something that I always pride myself in.
You mentioned the old elbow braces out there. I played with JJ, and he hurt his elbow one week, and then he wore the elbow braces, it seemed like, for the rest of his career. Is this an ongoing injury that you're dealing with, or you just look cool out there with your sweet cyborg arms out there pumping guys off you there?
That's funny that you say that because it was kind of a situation like that, comfortability aspect, and something that I've gotten used to, and I'll probably be rocking for
Just part of it's just part of the war paint now. I got to put on the sleeves and get ready.
Yeah. It turns out to be just like that. That's funny that you.
Yeah.
We got to talk to him last week, but I'm so impressed with Coach Lynn and his football knowledge and the way that he talks to his players. What has it been like getting to learn from D'Anton Lynn, and how have you really kind of adjusted to his scheme?
Man, Coach Lynn, everything he does is, top tier stuff football wise, and I feel like him as a coach in person, communicating what he wants done on the football field, there's not much better way to put it than he does. So like you said, getting to talk to him last week, I'm sure you guys just super impressed by how he talks game and how he talks football. And something that I've been blessed with is getting to actually talk to like the back seven guys too, and everything that they do is really tied in with what we do and how we get to the QB and how we stop the run. So just having that molded defense top down is something that I feel like he's done a great job with.
Saturday is going to be a battle in the trenches. Gavin Meyer will be right there leading the way for that USC defense, which has been so good this season. Good luck this weekend, Gavin. We will be watching and looking forward to it. When you've got good beer and good vibes, it's all bueno. Stone Buena Vesa Salt and Lime Lager is Baja-inspired and imported from San Diego, located near you at findnoutstonebrewing.com. And fight on Trojans and fly on with ONT. Ontario International Airport is a proud sponsor of our USC Trojans. Visit SoCalSoEasy.com to book your journey through ONT. To get on this show today, you have to be named Gavin. We're going from Gavin Meyer to Gavin Aurelia. He's next on Trojans Live.
I used to toss a coin in the waterfalls in the wishing well. Now I get plenty coin, but I'm self-made. You ain't gotta wish me well. You ain't like me then, but I guess it's past tense, cause you tapped in. You was never who you said. I see the facade when looking, it really be like to tell. My guard up, I ain't taking nails. If it's not in my favor, won't sign a deal. I got the royalty in the mail. I got authority in the field. Take a look in my iris. I be precise with the timing. I never know where my mind went.
And Cody Kessler.
Don't wait until game time to plan for retirement. Open your free iTrust Capital account today and get your crypto IRA. iTrust Capital is the official cryptocurrency platform of the USC Trojans. And if you want the inside scoop on this game and all things Trojans, be sure to sign up for the 3 Torches presented by Smart and Final. It's a free newsletter. It'll hit your email inbox 3 times a week with game info, player insights, and more. Go to usctrojans.com/3torches and sign up. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Cody Kessler, and Gavin Aurelia joins us now. Senior golfer on the men's team, coming off a win. The team won won at Southern Dunes. It was the first team title since 2020. You finished individually runner-up, but what did it mean? I mean, you've been part of this journey now. What did it mean to the program to get that dub?
Yeah, no, it meant a lot being here a long time and, going through a lot with the team. It's been a rough little couple years here. Different coaches, different transfers, different players. So it's kind of hard when you don't have a lot of consistency to, put like good results out there. So, I mean, I feel like finally we got some like consistency. We got a great coach, great assistant coach, great young kids on the team, freshmen, sophomore. So it meant a lot to me and other senior Jackson Rivera. We've been here a long time. So it's just been a long time coming, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, great individual performance from you over the weekend. What was your round like? would you describe what happened this last weekend?
Yeah, so I'm from Arizona, tournaments in Arizona. We played a tournament here last year for Wyoming, and coach kind of really liked it, and we were supposed to play a tournament up in northern Arizona, and they ended up canceling, so coach just kind of put this on last minute, and we ended up hosting it, which is kind of funny because it's in Arizona, and we're at USC. So, it's a course I was familiar with and kind of just got in the groove on the 36-hole day. It was hit my driver straight, far, making a lot of putts, and just kind of was locked in. And, I was leading going to the last day. Wish I could have got it done, but, I was just glad I could help the team out, and we won, so it was good.
Yeah, you're a senior and a leader on this team now, and you guys just got that first win under your belt. What's the goals look like for 2024, both individually and as a team?
Yeah, so goals this year is to make the national championship. I feel like we got a lot of depth this year, which is what we kind of lacked in the years past. A lot of good guys who can shoot some low scores. Individually, I'm just hoping to, play the best I can, keep improving, and, hopefully it'll help me out, like, down the road when I'm done here and, with my pro career once I finish up. And, just kind of help these young guys figure out, like, where they're at and how they can get better.
You're listening to Gavin Aurelia on Trojans Live, and if the last name sounds familiar and you're a baseball fan out there, you're the son of Rich Aurelia. It makes me feel old, man. I mean, I watched your dad's entire career, and then I was running the math, and I was going to ask you a question about, the World Series that they almost won, and I was like, I don't even think you were born for that, so I can't even ask you that question. But why'd you choose golf over baseball? I imagine baseball's in your blood.
Yeah, so I was actually born the year after that. We always grew up around baseball in San Fran at the stadium. My dad, me, and my brother, and he retired in 2009. So I was about 6 or 7, and he just was like one of those retired athletes who really wanted to golf all the time. And we joined a country club in Arizona. It's called Arizona Country Club, and he just started going out there, and then I just kept going with him, and me and my brother loved it, and. Yeah, I got to a point where I kind of just lost whatever passion I had for baseball. I played club baseball until I was about 13 years old, and I loved it, but I just stopped liking practicing baseball. So I was like, I'd rather go golf instead of play baseball. And so my dad was really supportive, and me and my brother both did the same thing. So that's kind of how it happened.
We had Coach Hankins on in the spring.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah, so he talked about what his vision looked like, how to get this thing on track for the team. How's it working with him? He seems like he's brought some life to the program.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome so far. Me and him get along great. We have a great relationship. I feel like last year, coming in, wasn't really doing my best, and he held me really accountable and, showed me what it really means to get better and what kind of work ethic you need and stuff like that. And I feel like, he's kind of put that into, everybody on this team. They already can kind of feel it, and it's a different culture and vibe so far. So I think, in that aspect, I think this thing's going to get turned around here these next couple of years for these guys too, and including this year.
Awesome.
I was telling the guys before we started, this is probably going to be my favorite interview of the year on this show. I'm like your dad, retired athlete, now addicted to golf. So my question for you is, what's your biggest piece of advice for any golfer out there trying to get down to that scratch level golfer, how to improve their game, whether it's on the range or while you're playing?
Short game.
You always hear that, but you want to go to the range and hit the driver in the long iron.
Yeah,
right?
So if you look at short game for golf, say you play a great round, you're a scratch golfer, you shoot 70. If you two-putt every green, it's 36 putts, and if you add chipping in there, it's, that's another, 15, 20 shots. So most of your shots are short game shots, but you just don't realize it. So I feel like, everyone out there is working on their swing a little much, or they're irons or whatever, but short game is definitely what gets you to the next level.
Cody, is there anything else that you wanted
Keep going,
to,
Cody. Come on, man.
to dip into? I just know that you were
talking about it all week.
So that was going to be my next question. Well, I mean, it's not often you get to talk to a plus handicap golfer, so I mean, I'm going to take advantage of that. But okay, so my next question would be following up with that is I don't spend enough time at chipping or putting. I go over to Oak Creek Country Club. They have a phenomenal facility there, but I'm the guy at the range is hitting 100, 200 golf balls a day. What do you, when you go to those chipping putting areas, is there like a formula to practicing? I go over there, chip a bucket, call it a day, walk off. Is there a way that you kind of strategically practice to getting better and taking that next step?
Yeah, that's something I'm still obviously trying to work on. I'm still learning, still trying to get better. Yeah, the way you practice definitely, it creeps into how you play. I would personally say, like, if you go practice chipping, maybe like start off with a lower lofted club, work your way, say you start with like a pitching wedge, work your way up, and then I don't know, kind of as you go up, it gets kind of easier and easier because it's easier to hit the shot with the higher lofted club. And then putting, it's the same thing. You can do speed drills. You can, hit long putts where you have to hit it past the hole but not too far past. And you just kind of keep doing like simple things like that. And if you keep grinding that, that'll really help you get better,
Well, we're going to exchange info after.
Yeah,
so I'll call you next
free
time.
lessons. Well, after dropping the country club name, maybe get a free membership. There's a lot going for you right now.
There we go.
I'll show you how to play, Cody.
Okay.
That's Gavin Aurelia. Thank you so much. Season just getting started. They're headed to Albuquerque this weekend, so keep hitting them straight, and good luck the rest of the way. We've got the Football Roundtable next on Trojans Live.
I used to toss a coin in the waterfall, send a wishing well. Now I get plenty coin, but I'm self-made. You ain't gotta wish me well. You ain't like me then, but I guess it's past tense, cause you tapped in. You was never who you said. I see the facade when looking, it really be like me to tell my guard up. I ain't taking nails. If it's not in my favor, won't sign a deal. I got the royalty in the mail. I got authority in the field. Take a look in my iris. I be precise with the timing. I never know where my mind went.
Our Women's Spotlight is brought to you by Sprouts Farmers Market. Open 7 days a week. Visit your neighborhood Sprouts for good-for-you groceries and great prices on the freshest produce. We just talked about men's golf, but put women's golf in the spotlight. Justin Silverstein always has that team in national title contention, and that should be the case yet again. USC women's golf ranked number 2 in the country. They start their season up in Chambers Bay, that U.S. Open course coming up this weekend, so good luck to them. We've got our football roundtable now, ready to take it to the next level. Unleash the beast this college tailgate season with Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet. Monster Energy, unleash the beast. Keely Orr joins us now. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody Kessler. You know, guys, I was thinking about how much the perception of this game has changed in 3 weeks. You could use the Vegas point spreads just as an example, but I think USC, if this was in the first game of the season, probably would have been a 8 to 10 point underdog kind of thing. Now all of a sudden the Trojans are the favorites. It's pretty interesting and how optimistic Keely is. Everyone feels going into this Saturday in a tough environment against the defending national champs.
First off, just want to say honored to join Cody's Tips and Tricks for Golfing show. Very glad to join.
I'll be posting some swing videos this week on my Instagram. So
okay, good to know. No, I mean, it's super interesting because like I have a friend who's a longtime USC fan, and I was like, oh, you're going on Saturday? And he was like, no, I didn't think the Trojans were going to do that well. And now everyone's almost like they're going to blow Michigan out the water. But I do think it's interesting that Riley is definitely pumping the brakes on that thought. He's like, anyone who thinks that this is not a good team is crazy, which I thought was pretty bold for him to say. But it's nice to hear that Riley is not underestimated what they're going to see on the road in the big house. So it is funny to see how quickly things change in college football.
Once the games actually start.
Yeah, I mean, the preseason stuff is always mind-boggling to me. What's going to happen? You don't know what team is going to be. It doesn't matter who's coming back. Every team each year is a different personality, different culture, different leaders on the team. So to think that anybody's going to be different, and you look at Michigan, they lost 13 guys in the draft. They had to refill some stuff. New coaching staff. They're going to figure out. They're building to how good they can be, right? And so hopefully USC can get in there, get in early in the season and get after them. But I think it's going to be a great game. I think obviously they stumbled early against Texas, didn't look great in the big house, but they're figuring things out. New quarterbacks coming in for them, Alex Orji. So that's another thing you got to add on to the plate if you're Lincoln Riley studying for new quarterback. So a lot of moving pieces. Going to be a fun way to open up the Big Ten conference. I mean, what gets better than that going on the road at the big house? But should be a fun game on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, and the biggest thing for that is you lose Jim Harbaugh, right? And that's that's very difficult replacing a head coach. But kind of going back to what Jordan was saying is, the perception for a football team can change week to week, right? And that's what Lincoln said best, is they still have dominant football players on this team. They have 3 first-round picks, in my opinion, on defense. They have a first-round pick possibly in their tight end on offense. I know they're struggling at the quarterback position, and it doesn't look that great statistically, around the rest of the country. But this is still a dominant Power 5, or I guess Power 4 now, football team that just won a national championship a year ago. So they can come out and perform well, and they can be the first 3 weeks where, okay, we're still kind of figuring ourselves out and finding out what we do well and what our DNA is, and then be dominant on Saturday. So I love what Lincoln said. You got to come out ready to go, and you got to prepare, like you said earlier, nameless, faithless opponent, and go out there and dominate.
And this quarterback can definitely galvanize them too. I mean, that's why you make a quarterback change. We saw it in the last Rose Bowl season. USC started 1-3, and a quarterback change, all of a sudden ignited a team that ultimately went on to win the Rose Bowl. Orji's interesting. He's a big-time athlete. I think that gives some trepidation to USC fans. There's been a lot of issues with mobile quarterbacks in the past. Maybe he's not known as the most accurate passer, but certainly brings something to the run game.
Yeah, well, if you look at what USC did with Utah State, Bryson Barnes, that's someone, and granted, different personnel around him
last season.
Yes, for sure. So this will be interesting to see once again. And I know I'm not the question asker here, but I was just curious what you guys think as far as announcing that change today on Monday rather than just, kind of having that surprise element on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it gives you a little bit of a hand, right? You kind of know what you can get ready for. You can see him out there. Obviously, not a ton of reps. You can look at spring games, and Coach mentioned he saw him in high school, but a tremendous athlete, can run around. Was he asked to make a lot of throws? Not really, so we haven't really seen his arm too much. But it's just always challenging when that happens the week you're going to play someone, and you got to figure out, because it changes all the timing and stuff. You have to get ready for this guy, but at least you know now who's the guy is, and you don't have to work for both of them.
And that's the best part, is it makes it easier instead of having to prepare for both, because Warren and Orji are completely different quarterbacks, right? And I think the advantage of saying that early is, and we've talked about on the podcast about, when Jaden and Miller were going back and forth, I think the earlier you announce that, not necessarily is, factoring into your opponent, but it's to let the guys know in the locker room who the quarterback is going forward. We have confidence now. We've got out to a shaky start. We struggled against Texas. We struggled last week. We haven't looked as dominant as we should. Now this is a guy going forward, and hopefully he can create that spark for us on offense.
You guys mentioned the perception of a college football team can change week to week, and you were talking about those things Coach Riley said earlier, and that stood out to me, which is, he almost said, our perception can change too. It could go the other way. One bad Saturday on CBS, and all of a sudden people say, "Oh, you're not physical enough. Oh, you didn't fix the defense." And so, I think his point was right, which is that the consistency of the physicality will be tested over the next 9 games of the season. It's because it's one thing to get up for LSU, and the other team literally challenges you to a fist fight. Okay, you showed up for it.
Yeah,
but it's going to be every week now in this league, and Michigan is leading the way in that party.
Well, I mean, look at last weekend. With Georgia was the reigning number 1 team in the country. No doubts about them. They're going to run the table and go win the SEC and go win a national championship. And now everyone's pumping the brakes a little bit because they struggled against Kentucky. So week to week can change, and you've got to perform, especially in a high-level conference like the Big Ten or the SEC.
Yeah, and that's the thing about having the debut Big Ten season is everyone's perked up to see you. Like I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of Big Ten away fans at the Coliseum because why not come to Los Angeles for the first time? So it's gonna be interesting to see if there is kind of more excitement for this first season than maybe down the road.
I think it was fun watching that Texas game, right? It was, you got a chance to see Michigan. You got to say, obviously there's going to be a different formula every week to trying to beat a team, but you kind of saw what Texas did, right? They got in there early. They took the crowd out of it. They got up early. It was, the place was quiet for most of the game, and they kind of just sat on that lead. And I don't think Michigan's the team that's kind of built to have that kind of offense, that really high-powered attack. They want to run the ball. They want to play great defense. They want to throw to the tight ends. That's the kind of offense this is. If you can get up out in front like Texas did and take the crowd out, it can be a completely different game in that atmosphere.
Yeah, and that was going to be my last topic for you. Is the atmospheres, right? I mean, that's part of this too. And I don't know, just looking at it, that I think USC got probably a pretty decent draw in that regard. This is the big one, really, when you look at it. I mean, we know Washington's a difficult atmosphere, but we've seen it before. I don't know that Maryland and Minnesota are necessarily known as vaunted road atmospheres, and USC will play UCLA, which we've done before too. This is the one, though, where you go, hey, let's see how different it is. And, Cody, you see a wide-eyedness potentially, or is it an inspirational thing to get to play on this stage?
Yeah, 2 sides of that real quick. The positive thing for us now is we have the in-helmet communication. That is the most difficult part on the road, is communicating to the sideline. I know you do hand signals, but being able to communicate not only from the sideline but to the line of scrimmage and being in rhythm with that. So now that we have that and Lincoln can talk to Miller on the field is huge. But the biggest thing I'm going to be paying attention to is Jonah Monheim and Miller Moss, right? You expect when you go on the road that there may be some center quarterback exchange. There may be some false starts up front, and you absolutely cannot have those because those are drive killers, and it kills momentum also, and it gets the crowd back into it. But there's nothing better, like Lincoln said, and I remember playing in some of those away games, than throwing a touchdown on the road, and it's complete silence except for the nosebleeds. About 15 Trojan fans are going to be clapping.
Looking forward to that moment. Hope that
Hopefully
one happens.
A lot of those.
But, it's funny. I mean, we will all be down there taking pictures on the field. You know what I mean? So there is that. And the players, whether they choose to acknowledge that or not, will probably feel a lot of that same thing of the stage, the gravity of the moment. So looking forward to seeing how they react to all of it. USC, Michigan on Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. That's when the Trojan Tailgate Show will start. We've got one more segment of Trojans Live next.
Waterfalls in the wishing well. Now I get plenty coin, but I'm self-made. You ain't gotta wish me well. You ain't like me then, but I guess it's past tense, cause you tapped in. You was never who you said. I see the facade when looking at really me like you can tell. My guard up, I ain't taking nails. If it's not in my favor, won't sign the deal. I got the royalty in the mail. I got authority in the field. Take a look in my iris. I be precise with the timing. I never know where my mind went.
To the campus of USC at Heritage Hall, broadcasting in Los Angeles, here are your hosts, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Cody Kessler.
One final segment of Trojans Live on a Monday night, Michigan week, USC, Michigan, a big debut this Saturday. This is, I'm glad we got that bye behind us. I didn't need a bye yet. I'm ready for some more football, the way USC has been playing. Just cannot wait for this game coming up on Saturday. Wrapping up Trojans Live with Sean Cody, Cody Kessler, Keely Eure. I'm Jordan Moore. Our over-under is presented by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC Athletics. All right, so I'm just basically using more or less the official over-under. The total for this game is 46.5. But your over-under, Sean, is 3.5 touchdowns for the winning team. Does the winning team need to score more than 3.5 touchdowns, or will the winning team score less?
Cody, would you like to go first?
I'm thinking, I'm kind of hesitant because I said when we did score predictions for LSU, USC, I thought it was going to be a high-scoring game, and that was not the case. I'm going to go over. I think Michigan struggled stopping the pass on the defensive side of the ball, and I think Miller Mott's going to have a great day. I'm going to go over for the Trojans. They win. I think we have 4 or 5 touchdowns.
I think if you're a Trojan fan, you want the over because then you're feeling good. Because I think, like I said earlier, I don't think Michigan can score at that kind of volume, and if USC can get more than 4, I'd feel pretty good.
Over.
I think it's under. I really do. I think we're headed for a low-scoring game. I think Michigan's takeaway from the Texas game will be fewer possessions, slow this game down. I think they're going to try to play it like the Utah game at the Coliseum last year with Bryson Barnes, where it's just run, play defense, slow it down. Doesn't mean you can't win a low-scoring game, too, but I think that's what we're headed for, a little bit of a fist fight. All right, thank you to everyone involved. Appreciate everyone watching at home. Our YouTube audience has been fantastic, and everyone listening as well across the USC Trojans Media Network. We will be back next week to talk about this game. Follow us on YouTube. For Sean, Cody, for Keely, I'm Jordan. Fight on, everyone.
This has been Trojans.